Hello and welcome. This is Daring to Forward, and I'm bringing you an expert replay of the single player PvE map Encounters with Twilight. This is continuing my commentaries on full nature decks. I decided to go ahead and redo this one because a lot of the old replays used what was back then a bug with mind control, which has now been fixed. So I'm just going to show you how you can run it without the bug. As usual, you're going to start with Broken Kel doing his little spill. For nature, you have a couple of different starts. You can use Shaman or Windweavers. For me, I will summon in total 4 Shamans, or you could use Windweavers and DPS. However, which would require a Mark of the Keeper at the second stage, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. So, like I said, I'm going to bring in 4 Shamans, and all they're going to do is just come up here and heal the North Guards, and the North Guards are going to end up taking out this Twilight Devastator. The fight over here between 2 Twilight Archers and the North Guards, you don't have to worry about because, as you can see, their health is regenerating themselves. So this fight won't activate until you either intervene or until the Twilight Devastator is destroyed. Now, the key to this is you want to kill the Devastator, you want to kill these Archers, and you want to kill the Twilight Mages as well as the Brutes. And then that will start the second stage, which is basically defend the bottleneck, and then you have to clear all of the infestations and units here. That will start the third leg, which will allow you to deal with the north end of the map. And as you can see, the North Guards, along with the healing, have no problems taking out the Devastator. This squad of North Guards is going to retreat, and I'm going to use my Shamans to pull these Archers into the North Guards. I'm now going to summon in 3 Tree Spirits. You don't have to do this if you have a Mark of the Keeper in your deck. For me, somebody asked me to do this without Mark of the Keepers, and that's why I've doing it this way. And basically what it does is anytime a unit is rooted, they can't get knocked back. The Twilight Hags here will knock back small medium units. So if you place the Mark of the Keeper right here, it will negate their ranged attack, and your Shamans will be able to DPS them down. However, with Tree Spirits, as you will see, once they're rooted, they cannot be knocked down, which is one of their strengths. So as you can see, 3 Tree Spirits backed with 4 Shamans will have no problems whatsoever. Now, a key to this map, or key to this section right here, is you want to be very careful with where your Vile Blood as well as your Twilight Whisperers are. When you take out this tower and destroy all these units, you want to make sure your Vile Blood is right about in this area right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start once I take out this Brute, I want to set my Tree Spirits on the tower to go ahead and start DPSing it down. I'm going to put my Shamans right here at the gate so I can see when the Vile Blood rotates by, which is right about now. And I'm then going to guesstimate when he is in this area right there just to the south of the island. And now that I know where he's at, I'm going to pull back my units to make sure to give Vile Blood enough time to wrap around. And as you can see, when it activates, there he goes. He's right where I wanted to be, in the sweet spot. And the reason for that is in this area right here next to your next power well, you're going to have civilians spawn, and you don't want the civilians dragging in the Vile Blood and the Twilight Whisperers as they retreat. There are civilians, and all they're going to bring is just 1 slaver, which is a good thing. I've set up my Tree Spirits in a defensive formation, and the problem with this is your Shamans will try to heal the civilians, so it kind of takes healing away from the North Guards and or Rogue and Kill, so you just want to micro them. This is Strike Team Alpha, 2 Burrowers. They've now started running on the Twilight infestations. You want to knock out these infestations as quickly as you can, because that's where all the units come from. So I'm now going to return my Burrowers to allow them to heal. I now have a huge mess here. Now, one problem with Rogue and Kill is he will aggro on anything. So you got to be really, really careful with him. And before you try to get too far, go ahead and clear out. I'm going to clear out all these units so he goes back up into his little nest up here next to my tier 2. Otherwise, he will just keep running and running, and eventually he'll come down here and meet the abomination, and he will die. So I move my Tree Spirits and my Shamans down here to heal, so I can just go ahead and clean all this up and get Rogue and Kill back to the safety. I've now brought in 3 Burrowers. They're going to start running on the second infestation and knock out this one so I can get a little bit closer to taking my T3. I got ready to send them, but then all of a sudden the Vile Blood died, and Vile Blood will release a pool of acid, so I ended up having to move my units back to make sure it was gone. And now that it's gone, I'm now going to bring my Burrowers down here. I'm going to lay down a root so the slavers can't get to me. I'm then going to take out this infestation and retreat back. Now, if you want to use the heal, you could probably take out this tower as well, but I was making good time on this, so I just decided to play it safe. Rogan Kell's going to come out here with the Twilight Whispers. Now the thing with the Twilight Whispers is that AE attack they're doing, there also blinds any ranged units. So you got to be real careful with that. If you have melee units, it's not a problem, but with ranged units, I am now bringing Strike Team Alpha around the island and to take out this last infestation. The thing with this last infestation is that's where the Whisperers as well as the Vile Blood will spawn from. There's a root as well as a Curse of Oink. You want to make sure the Curse of Oink gets the Abomination as well as the Twilight Hag, because the Hag will knock these guys back. Now if you end up losing all 3 of your Burrowers, that's perfectly fine as long as you take out that infestation. I ended up losing a Burrower right here because my heal was too late, so I burned a Creeping Paralysis to make sure these guys didn't come back. Rogan Kell took out another Vile Blood, and I was really lucky here I didn't lose that Burrower as well. It just happened to pass by right as the Vile Blood ended up dying and the acid wore off. So I'm going to heal my guys up, and now that I have the Vile Blood dealt with, I have the Whisperer dealt with, and I have no more spawn building here, I don't have to worry about random patrols. So I'm going to bring my units, I'm going to claim my power wells, and I am going to take out these towers as well as these 2 slavers. I end up losing a tree spirit here because I wasn't paying attention, so you got to be real careful, and don't forget that the slavers do explode. And I'm going to lose, I think it's that tree spirit right there. But I'm going to bring my Burrowers here to help clean up the mess, and once my mess is cleaned up, I'm going to claim the second power well, and yep, there he goes. I don't know what I was doing or what I was thinking, but I ended up losing them. I'm going to sacrifice my Burrowers, get their power back in the power pool, and I'm going to bring my tree spirits down here, wait to take my T2, or T3 rather. The Shaman is going to come back here and heal Rogan Kell. Once I have my T3, I'm going to bring in a total of 4 tree spirits. The great thing about tree spirits is they're a cheaper version of living towers when it comes to just plain out support. Living towers used to be T2 immobile plus 70 power. These guys are 60 power T1 and mobile. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a little bit superior to the living tower unless you need the living tower for defense. I'm going to bring in my Razor Leaf. He's going to set up with an Ensnaring Root. He's going to be able to take out this Twilight Abomination and this whole camp. And as you can see, with a Razor Leaf and support of just 4 tree spirits, it's really not a problem at all. As I'm doing this, I'm going to begin to start the 3rd section once all this is cleared. Now remember, when you take this last infestation out, it's going to spawn in 4 Twilight Crawlers. So just be ready for that. This force right here will have no problem whatsoever handling it. I'm going to set up my Razor Leaf again, take my last power well, take out the Sky Scorcher, and my Shamans will heal, my network set up, and there goes the Crawler. So once these 4 Crawlers are dead, or whatever the last unit is, it's going to start the 3rd section of this. 3rd section of this allows you to do 2 options. If you activate the Screaming Stone, all your units that are up here currently will come down and attack you, and you will have to defend. Your second option is being offensive. You can create a force and go on the offensive and wipe everything else out yourself that's up there. That takes time, it takes power, and it takes units. Me personally, I much rather defend. A Razor Leaf is quite capable, if supported by a root network, of being able to take it out by itself, as well as being supported by a tunnel. A tunnel? What do you mean being supported by a tunnel? You'll see. I brought in my tunnel. I like this little thing. The key thing to remember about this next section is these 2 Twilight Hulks right here will go on patrol. They will patrol down, come down to the bottleneck, and try to take out your wall. Now, the key to this one is understanding that these Twilight Hulks, once you destroy them, there they go, they will respawn 30 seconds after they die. So what you want to make sure is that you activate the Screaming Stone before that 30-second timer is up. Otherwise, you want to get 2 extra Hulks in that particular onslaught as you activate your Screaming Skull. And as you can see, Razor Leaf, 3 shots, okay, 3.5 shots. It takes out the Twilight Hulks without a problem whatsoever. I'm going to activate the Screaming Stone here momentarily. Now with the tunnel, another thing about rooted units is they can't be teleported. So with the tunnel, I am going to, and the Screaming Stone's now been activated, so everybody's going to come down. I'm going to use Burrow Ritual Fire Affinity, which will give a 30% damage bonus. And you'll see me use it here in just a second as soon as the Twilight Hulks and everything start showing up. There's an Ensnaring Root. I don't know why I haven't used it yet. Why didn't I use it? You want to try to keep this wall up as much as possible. Also, keep this Twilight Dragon has a null magic effect on it. You want to take that dragon out as quickly as possible, even over the Twilight Hulks. That's where the Ensnaring Roots comes into play. Now I made a mistake. I allowed one of the Hulks to get a little bit too close and my Tree Spirit started to attack it, so you'll notice that the attack power of the Razor Leaf ended up going downhill a little bit right there. So I had to burn an Oink, and I took out this Hulk that survived, or whatever that was, and now my attack power is right back where it needs to be. And as you can see, even with units breaking through a little bit, a Nature Affinity and a Frost Affinity Root Nexus had no problem whatsoever keeping my Razor Leaf alive. I'm now going to put the Razor Leaf as well as the Nexuses back into the power pool. I'm going to move my Tree Spirits up, and I'm going to start the last leg. I'm going to take my Tier 4. I'm going to bring in 6 more Tree Spirits. I want to set them up to the north end as well as the south end to begin my root network. I'm going to drop down a few nexuses so I can extend my root network. And I'm going to bring in 2 Spore Launchers. I'm going to place 1 Spore Launcher at the north entrance, 1 Spore Launcher at the south entrance, and I'm going to bring in 2 Colossuses as well as a couple of spike roots. Now the thing with this fight is the Wrathgazer here has spirits which will support him. There will be an angry spirit, a cruel spirit, and a kind spirit, red, blue, and green. The red one, angry, will do a direct damage. The kind, green, will do a heal, and the cruel, blue, will do a freeze snap, or like a cold snap. Now the direct damage, red, and the heal is not too much to worry about. However, the blue, the cruel spirit, the freeze snap will freeze your units, and basically if one of those things activate, you're in trouble. So you definitely want to make sure you hold those off. All I'm doing now is just waiting for power. Now the problem is when you think 2 Colossus will be enough, but it's not. Once the Wrathgazer sees a unit, it's going to start disintegrating it. So one of these units is actually going to be utterly useless. And all it's going to do is just divert the Wrathgazer's gaze. So I'm going to bring in a spike root, and that's going to hopefully be the initial unit that it concentrates on, so these 2 can actually get a little bit closer. Once I have enough power that I feel comfortable with, I'm going to go ahead and start my attack run, which is right now. As you can see, the Wrathgazer concentrates on the spike root. That gives me time to get my unit set up. I now activated the Spore Launcher. It's now hooked to the root network. It's now launching. There's the Burrow. That's going to give it an extra 30% damage bonus. The spike root has now died. The Wrathgazer now is concentrating on this Colossus, and this other Colossus is merely doing melee as much as possible. And as you can see, 2 Spore Launchers supported by a root network are taking this Wrathgazer out very, very quickly. Here's an angry spirit. I'm now going to use the Colossus to attack it. Here's a kind spirit. These are the green ones and the red ones. Not really too much to worry about. It's the cruel spirits that you got to worry about, which is right here, this blue one. If that gets to the Wrathgazer, it's going to do a freeze, and it's going to be nothing. As you can see right there, a heal got off, but it was really negligible in the grand scheme of things. And as you can see, 2 Spore Launchers, 2 Colossus, and a spike root, which I just summoned in because I thought I was going to need it, had no problem. The thing with this map is it just requires a little bit of micro, but once you get it, it's actually pretty easy. And the key to remember is the mind control doesn't work the way it used to. It used to be if you mind control a unit, the game thought it was dead, but that's not the case anymore. So you have to be mindful of that. So I hope you enjoyed this replay, and if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a ring on the forums. Y'all have a good day. Bye bye.